I am. I am liking very much having these discourses in a more leisurely way 3 times a week. The everyday thing was really difficult. And it's not difficult from lack of subjects, but it's difficult because there's an organization that occurs whether I want to or not, whether it's extemporaneous or not. I just think about it and think about what am I going to talk about. And so on a daily basis, that becomes like a lot of work in the morning when I wake up. Because I think about it in the morning when I wake up. I think about, what am I going to talk about? I talked about this last time. What am I going to talk about now? And I'm very tempted to continue railing about phones, but I don't really have to. I will continue to talk about them ad infinitum. And that's an infinite until death, because they are very, very dominant as a technology right now. The most dominant technology I've ever seen in my life. So I could continue talking about them as a, not a final note about it, but as a I don't know what to say. But to the phones, the symptom, I don't use a phone, but I don't tell people not to use phones. And at the same time, I experience that if I talk to people about it and I say I don't use a phone, they are all, I wish I didn't have to use the phone. So people are pretty much stuck. And the society is stuck on phones. But I'm not. For me, it is a tool, and I don't have one, so therefore the use of it is limited. I also don't subscribe to any of your entertainment. I don't know what movies there are around. I don't know what musicians and music is famous and everybody is thinking is the God's gift to the planet. I don't know what artists are passing their painting sculptures around and everybody is considering them the next somebody. I don't know who the amazing dancers are who have moved out of the breakdance genre into something more strange, probably. I just do what I do, and I am very much a hermit in that doing. I am very much a droshi in that doing. I am very involved only in that doing. I've given immense reasons for it. I can quickly go over those reasons again. I distrust beings who are creating with electronic devices. Electronic devices offer everyone, those calling themselves artists, those calling themselves creators, those calling themselves entrepreneurs. I experience them as using a power that is way beyond their capabilities and exaggerating their expression way beyond their capabilities. As I have said over and over, give me any DJ, place that DJ in the forest with me without anything, and let's see who is creating anything. That's a challenge, by the way. I dare any DJ to do that with me. I dare them. I actually dare any of the electronic artists to put down their electronics and show me really what they're capable of. All you electronic guitarists, all you electric this and that and amplified this and that, let's see if you really can make that sound or not. If it really comes from your heart, or it comes from the circuit and the electrons coming out of the wall. Because the difference between you and I, as I have said before, is that I can pull your plug, and all of a sudden you're just this pipsqueak. You can't do anything. So again, I distrust all of the creative manifestations I experience right now in modern society. I don't look at them because of that. Why should I? Because I just don't know what it is. They will make all sorts of rationalizations for it. Well, the audience can't hear me in the stadium. I need to pump it up so they can hear me. I can't make this sound. I can only make it with this digital platform, with this computer application, with this mixing board. That is not to say there are other beings who are capable of wonderful manifestations and creations with their being heart and their body. But they're very invisible until the plug is pulled. Once they show that they have something, that it is really quite something, then I'm willing to grant them the use of electricity to pump it up a bit. But that pumping it up, that amount of power that they allow or are given themselves, that is to be monitored, and that is to be very carefully looked at. Because is it ego? Is it money? It definitely has nothing to do with their death. Because at their death, they will not have that electricity available to them to pump it up. At their death moment, they are with their heart, and that's it. So I'm brought to that place about artists. What is artist? And I never call myself an artist. People have called me an artist. They've called me all sorts of names. Am I an artist? I'm not really quite sure. When I think of artist, I really think of somebody who's painting a canvas or manipulating clay, carving stone. Somebody like Michelangelo. Somebody who's written something that is quite creative, sometimes I call an artist too. I do call Shakespeare an artist. I do call Joseph Conrad an artist. I do call quite a few artists. And then I have disputes with artists. some composers. But am I calling them an artist because of what they leave to the world, and thus is the art? And thus they are called artists because they leave art to the world. They've left an oeuvre of art, an oeuvre of drama, an oeuvre of paintings, an oeuvre of symphonies. I've basically left nothing. Is that purposeful, or I can only say it's partly it's partly purposeful. It's partly I find that the process of recording my works to be tedious and fake. I don't like standing in front of a microphone and trying to emulate or copy or imitate that which I do without the microphone. There are very few people who have recorded me cleanly and beautifully. I can only say there is one person who recorded me when I did the first act of the opera, of my opera, who recorded me well, and even then it was difficult. He made it such that I can just perform and not concern myself with the microphone. He created a foot drum on the ground that he mic'd. He did all these things, but that was because he really respected me. Whereas there have been others who have not done that at all. They have taken on an attitude that I don't deserve to be recorded well, and that they'll just push me to do it the way they have made all the other still performers record. So they tie me down to a microphone in a very uncomfortable way, making it such that it makes my throat constrict, my body constrict, the way I play the violin constrict. I already have an issue with microphones because I can blow them out in a second. I just sing and they get redline. We did a show once with a guy who was so hot to trot about us, Bohawe. He called us up and he was saying all these wonderful things and kind things and exaggerated things and flattering things. We did an event for him, and at that event he had a microphone placed there, and I was feeling very expansive. So I came in and I just sang it out, and I blew out his speakers. And that made it impossible for anybody to perform because everybody uses the speakers. They're using microphones. They don't know anything about performing without a microphone. So the sweetie and I just took over. He never forgave us for that because he was also shut down. I shut them all down. And that's the problem. He didn't like it. He was humiliated by it. We took over his event. So it's very difficult with people and microphones. And people and microphones, one can also, this is my other subject, which I talk about redundantly and over, which will show up with phones. As you might notice, they're similar. So with microphones, when people are doing their performance and they're taking a picture, they're all with their microphone up against their lips and they're showing how passionately they're singing. But it's the microphone which is the highlight of that picture. I always see this. I don't see them. I see the microphone in their hand, because I am very, very clear that without that microphone, I'd like to see them express themselves the same way. They can't. So, am I an artist? As I said, I've been called many things. And I don't call myself an artist. I call myself a performer. I call myself a prayformer. The subtext or the tacit truth of artists is that you have something to show for yourself. Artists have an oeuvre. I do not. I said that already, but I want to emphasize it because that oeuvre is connected with microphones and singing into microphones. That's singing and making CDs. I have, I think, about 15 CDs. Few people have them. Few people care or ask me about them. As being a 70-year-old person who has performed and prayformed my entire life, it is sort of interesting that people don't wonder if I have CDs or if I have some sort of recorded media. Sometimes they know that I have a film made about me. Sometimes somebody tells them or others that I have a film that has been made about me that won an Academy Award. But is that my oeuvre? In actuality, that is Sarah's work. She did that. She was the filmographer. She was the director. She was it's her work. I don't have it on a website. I don't have it in possession of me to show you. You have to go to her to see it. However, I don't think of it as a fault or a limiting factor. I consider that I have expressed myself for a good many years now. As I often say, I have been publicly expressing myself longer than most people I meet or have been alive. I have no oeuvre of that. Many people have filmed me doing that. They've filmed me by myself. They have filmed me with the sweetie. They have filmed me at many times throughout the many years that I have done that, into the 80s. Having no control of all of that, having no demonstrable control of that, means that I am not an artist to the world. I have no proof of that. There are many people in the world who have films of me. I consider when the sweetie and I were arrested in the Angel Tunnel for singing and dancing and playing the violin and carried and handcuffed and pulled out of the Angel Tunnel and taken and put in jail, that is a piece of art. I can call it that. Some people can call it that. But I have no ownership of the recording of that experience. It exists. It did exist. So, that is how I am in the world. When I stand next to somebody who has perhaps as many CDs as I, perhaps who has, or even less, maybe one CD, but it's famous and popular and everybody loves it, and people look at them with glazed eyes and, oh, wow, you're so wonderful. I have nothing to compare to them at their 20 years old and all the recorded media they have, or 1 media, 2, 10 media, whatever they have, and I have nothing to show. So am I an artist compared to them? Am I anything compared to them? The only way to show that is by putting it on right there. Let's do it. Let's show. Let's see what's going on here. But I'm pulling your plug. Let's see what happens then. Again, I'm challenging you, as you see. I believe, and there's faith in this, I believe that if one does one's heart in the universe and does it with immense devotion, intent, and commitment, that's all that is necessary. That is enough to help human beings evolve further. I don't need material proof of my artistry. I don't need material proof to say, look how great I am. I don't need material proof to show you and to pompously project myself in a crowd of people and 5 people at a table of dinner and bring out my proof to say, look at what an artist I am. I don't do that. I am quiet. But to do art, to do a creative work, to do it without expectation of reward, but to do it for the sake of evolution and for the faith in the fact that if one does so, it has an immense effect on the world and the universe. That's what I do. I don't seek to own a car because I do it. I don't seek to own a house because I do it. I don't seek to have a bunch of fans because I do it. I don't seek to have a presidency because I do it. I do it because my heart says that this is the truth, the absolute truth, and I have no doubt about it, none whatsoever. So much belief that as I said, bring it on. Any one of you who pompously walks around with your guitars and your plugs and your amplification devices and your microphones and in front of all of your friends and fans, and they are all slavishly following you around and saying, oh, wow, you're so wonderful. I say, bring it on. Let's see what you can bring on. But you cannot plug in. Why am I so adamant about this? I am adamant about this because the heart is the place of intent, consciousness, the holographic truth of our awareness is a place of truth. Through the heart, through this place of consciousness, is the expressive depth of a being. It is the origin for me of what performance means. From this place is a dense energy that changes wherever I do it. So wherever I have done it, Portugal, Amsterdam, London, New York, San Francisco, Oregon, Washington, I can just name it, Mexico, just name it, that's a lot of places. Everywhere where I've done it, I know I have left an energetic recording, an energetic nugget, an energetic ethereal nugget that is there for those to encounter and bring into their being and be transformed by it. It is an anonymous thing. They don't know about it. They don't know when they go in that space. They don't know when they come into the angel tunnel that that is what they experience. When somebody is there doing it for the sake of money, that is not what they're doing. They're doing it for money. They're doing for an expectation of money. I am not doing that. Money has come and money will come, but I am neutral towards the reception of money because everything is about giving my full being self, doing my being duty at a spot throughout the world. And I have gone around the world doing this. I have left nuggets of ethereal wealth in places all around the world, all around the globe. I have not been off the planet, but that's not necessary. No, I'm not an artist. People call me that. But what I am is a devoted, a committed, passionate heart expressing being, leaving ethereal nuggets of diamonds, crystals for the people to receive and be transformed by them.